Good evening and welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV. If you're wondering where JP is, I don't know where he is either, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, I've got some great guests on the show with me this evening to help me hold down the fort in JP's absence. Of course, there's also the score competition, which comes up a little later in the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We've also got some very cool clips sent in from Peniel Villages and Massey, and I think the False Bay ladies as well, that we'll be showcasing at some point during the show. But before we get to what's happening on the show, let me introduce my guests to you this evening, the esteemed Roger Smith from Tygerberg. Roger, welcome to Cape Rugby TV.
Thank you, Morgan. Nice to be here. It's been a while.
Roger, of course, the backline coach at Tygerberg. How are things going? Done a bit of recruiting. What can you tell us about how the pre-season's been so far?
Recruiting means money, eh? Unfortunately, that's not one of our strong points. But we basically got the same numbers. We lost a lot of front rows, but that's how it is, eh? So we're just building. We had a nice camp now this last weekend. And just we're working to our first friendly against Robertson this coming weekend.
Yeah, before we get to the friendly against Robertson, also on the show with me this evening, Alistair Tace, of course, CPUT head coach. They've already had a game this year, so in this Varsity Shield. Alistair, welcome to Cape Rugby TV. All good?
All good, Morgan. It's nice to be back.
And how things going? Tell us a little bit about how things have gone. I know you've already played a league game. Well, I'll call it the Varsity Shield game. You guys have played a friendly. There's a lot happening at CPUT at the moment.
Yeah, there's quite a bit happening. We got off, our competition kicked off on Friday. It was a good start for us, so we played against 40. And then the club played on Saturday as well. The big thing for us is that the club players get looked after as well, besides just focusing on the Varsity Shield. So we keep that focus on both.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question actually, very easily, is how do you manage that? I mean, trying to keep club players happy, trying to keep sort of the Varsity Shield players happy. You've got a big squad, you must be working with a big squad. Are you managing both of them? Do you have a second team coach? How does your whole system work?
Yeah. So I'm overseeing both of them. Because the quality that you give the varsity guys, you need to give to the club guys as well. Share the same knowledge across both parties. But for the varsity guys, that group is about transparency, about who's playing. And then for the club guys, it's just keeping that friendliness in, so there's consistency there as well.
Yeah, I mean,
and they just want to play.
That's stark contrast to Roger, I presume, what you may have at Tygerberg. I mean, I know what it's like at Kraaifontein, although I'm not here as a Kraaifontein head coach. I'm here very much as a neutral. But I mean, numbers, how are your numbers looking, Roger? Are you still doing some recruiting? You're still trying to get players down to the club, or are you happy with the amount you've got?
We're always recruiting, eh? We always, especially where the clubs is when it comes to front rows and stuff. So we're always looking if there's players out available. Like if you don't use your players, we are open club. So we're recruiting. We're looking to strengthen the team. Of course, we want to do better than last year. So the only way you can do that is to get the best players as possible. And
you guys also hit the ground running. I mean, you guys, big friendly coming up this weekend against Robertson. I mean, I know they already played, Robertson played against VDE last week. VDE picked up quite a big result there. But I mean, for you guys, well prepared, ready to hit the ground running against Robertson and maybe pick up a surprise too, or where do you feel you're at?
I think it will be our first game, so there's a few boxes to be ticked. That's the most important thing. So we're working. There's our first friendly of 6, which will be finished of the last one against Kraaifontein. So we will building up. Well, maybe when we hit you guys, I think we'll be fully confident in our game plan and our structures.
Yeah, speaking of hitting us in the last game of the season, also the club fixtures have been released. I know there's been plenty of banter across all the different social platforms, who's playing who. A little bit later on the show, I'm going to have some banter with Murray Ingram, of course. So that'll be our first league game of the season. But let's just look at the fixtures very quickly. Alistair, let's take this one to you. Sort of, it's out now. I mean, it's been finalized. Happy with where it's at? Obviously, you guys also have the Varsity Shield to manage them, and then the transition into the first league game. Some games are playing on a Wednesday night if you're playing Varsity Shield. Yeah. Are you managing all of that and happy with how the fixtures look for you guys?
Look, I think the across board, I think everybody's happy that it's out nice and early, so that you can prepare, going into the league. Roger mentioned they got 6 friendlies. That's quite a number of games before you play your 13 games in your league, so you can prepare well. But it's also important to know who you play and when, so you can manage your squad accordingly, and give rotation to play, opportunities to players in the club.
And have you earmarked any of your fixtures yet? I mean, let's talk about the first one, first 2 at least. How's it looking there?
So we go game by game, because straight out of tournament, we fall into the league. God willing, we play in the final. The following week, we play our first league fixture. Yeah. So it goes game by game, but our first 2 fixtures is Goodwood and NTK. NTK came down with us last year, but I'm pretty sure they'll want to bounce back this year, back up to the A-League. And then Goodwood came up. You know, Goodwood done really well last year in their league.
They did very well, yeah. And then, of course, Roger, we're seeing that we're staying on the fixtures. Super League A, going to be a very, very tough league this year. Of course, a couple of guys gone up. The ones that have come up, the Galacticos of the world, as they've been called. Your fixtures, you happy with how it looks?
Yeah, I mean, I think we will be a little bit under pressure because we played Villages our first game, which beat us last year. And then we got another game, and then we're going to the Easter weekend, Saldana Top 8 tournament.
Oh, yes, of course, that's exciting.
So, I mean, like, it's extra three games, so management-wise, it's going to be hectic for us. But we're looking forward to it. It's another opportunity for the players. So, I think we must just balance it and manage the players properly. So, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, look, folks, we are heading into the business end of what we would call the pre-season. Most teams in the month of March are going to play 3 to 4 friendlies and then, of course, hitting the league. So plenty of rugby coming up over the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be very, very exciting. Before we get to all of that, we went down to Peniel Villages, and we managed to catch their training session, and this is what they're getting up to. There you have it, folks. Super League C, Peniel Villages, hard at work, putting in the contact, getting the players' skills up, and making sure that they're ready for Super League C, which is again going to be a very, very tough league this year, as is Super League A, B, and C. We're going to take a quick ad break, folks, and when we come back, we're going to chat to these two gentlemen about what they saw there on that clip at Peniel Villages. We're also going to touch base with Masipo Malele and see what they're doing down at their training grounds. But we'll see you in just a couple of seconds.